Hello, I hope all is progressing well. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Welcome to I Don't Know. We can talk about it, where we discuss a variety of topics which we can have an opinion on because we can. So, today, starting off, we're going to get into a very important topic that has come to my attention about youth. Yes, children in schools. The FBI warns about sextortion. Children that are in situations where people are requesting from them images, very graphic images of youth, not adults, then harassing the youth and asking them for money, or else private photos are going to be public. Blackmailing children. Not cool. Whoever is responsible for whatever mediums that connect to the Internet of Things that children have access to, be mindful that FBI actually relays a few pointers in this article, which I'm sharing on the sides. So please read along with this Ed Week article. Very important. Shout out to the author. Check her out as well. I don't want to mispronounce her name. I think with the internet being so large in all directions, in all ways one can think, it's really important to be mindful of what a person is bringing into connectivity with whoever's in the household, particularly children. I remember one instance where my nephew was playing a game and someone is screaming some wild language, not wild in a good way, some ridiculous, terrible language. And I turned the volume down because I don't want my nephew to deal with any of those things. I don't want my nieces to deal with any of those things because I understand they're children. And children really don't understand everything happening around them. Moving on to another topic that's in connection, because I do think the FBI offers sound advice. Obviously, pay attention to what your children are doing. The children are watching porn at school. Now, I'm no stranger to the experience. The article talks about how children can come about porn accidentally or on purpose. The survey number is somewhat low, though I do add a link to a research portal where one can find more information about porn and teen usage for the right reasons, for the safe reasons. I know every institution I've ever come across in which a person has access to the internet as a student varies in cyber security. Some institutions monitor computers and laptops live, are able to even write on screens, lock down everything, constant monitoring. Some institutions have no protections. So what makes all of this even tougher is the difference between me growing up and times children are growing up in now in relation to cell phones. Cell phones allow children to be in worlds all alone. That's the reality. So, I'm just letting you all know that I think whatever's available on the internet is likely going to be possibly accessible to anyone that uses the Internet of Things. Set up parental protections and protocols, if not already in place. What else can one do? I mean, is the problem with children, students are in school doing this, or if at all, especially with only somewhat of an understanding of the frequency of observations of graphic materials such as pornography. All right, this is really, really intense topic, of course, because of children being so close to home, obviously so delicate to family, though all so important because children become adults. And I'm thinking that with that part of an experience in one's childhood, that adulthood might receive some type of effect or affects from those experiences. Do these vary per person, per personality? If a person has the experience or not? Possibly. So, we're going to take a nice origami break before we enter into a movie and book review. What's going on? It's time for our origami session now. So today I'm going to show you how to make a transforming ninja star. I actually go ahead and make half of it because it can be such an intricate process and take a lot of steps. Subjective. A lot of steps. Subjective. Though, I'm going to show you what to do to make the other half and show you how to mix it in with the rest of this portion. So first, it's really important to have a square sheet for this one. If you know how to make it another way, that's really cool. Let me know, because there are a lot of ways to make a lot of different folds and patterns. So now, I'm going through this multi-folding step because I'm going to be folding similarly after I shred this paper in half. Yes, I'm going to be shredding the paper. No, I'm not like a shredder, but I'm going to be splitting the paper in half. I'm folding it so I can get nice quarters. So I'm going to have 4 mini squares coming from this one square. That's the reason why I fold it like this. And you can see on the side that has just one color, the pattern. See? So I'm going to take this, it's in squares, just folding it, pressing it, folding it back. So I want to shred, like split it in half, shred it right here, right down the middle. That's all. Right down the middle. And of course, look, boom, boom. We're going to take it again and just shred it right down the middle. You see that? That's all we're going to do, just shred it down. So we're gonna eventually have 4 squares. Now, you can use scissors, a razor, cut it however you want to get your squares. Just make sure you have 4 mini squares. And of course the design is on the other side. So we're going to be folding in now because we're going to want the design to be on the outside. At least I want the design to be on the outside. If you want the design to be inside, fold it. If you have a paper that has 2 different sides, just pick whatever's most appealing for you and your work. See that? Boom. So now I'm going to fold it again, similarly to the big square, in all directions. Here's where the intricacies start. So we're gonna just basically take 2 corners on the same side on one side. I'm just gonna fold it in. See? Just gonna fold it right here. And this is good. So we fold it in, and now look. Voila. This is where you have to have these angles to make it easier. The angles coming in from the corners, because what's gonna happen is, see, if I fold it here, just fold it, it's like an arrow, like a half an arrow of some sort. It looks like almost on the way to being an airplane, paper airplane, if you know how to make that kind. So now I'm just gonna take this portion and I'm gonna flick it in. So you can see it's bending in, it's bending in, bending in, bending in, bending in. And you see like that? Ah. So now it's like a parallelogram. So that's what the shape ultimately that's going to connect to make our transforming star. So I'm going to fold this the entire way, similarly to the prior one. And that's all it is. Now, I split one big sheet. You can use as many squares as you want of big paper. You can make so many of these with square paper. I think what's cool is that if you don't know how, you can make square paper from rectangle paper just by bringing one corner all the way to the edge of the rectangle paper, then cutting it. After cutting it, guess what? You'll have about a square. So now, when you get that square ready, you can start making your folds in, or you can just make mini squares and start making this origami transforming star, and obviously preserving paper. So again, I'm folding the same side flaps. When you shred it, at least when I shred it, I like to use the flaps that are even on both sides. And of course, the portion in. The reason why I like to use the flaps even on both sides is because the edges are a little rougher, and so the fold might be a little more uneven. So I try to match the even sides with the even sides, the rough sides with the rough sides. All of the rough sides are going to be inside anyway, for the most part. Though you can see on this half some of the rough sides. I call them rough sides. They're just cut or separate by my hand, not by scissors or a knife. Though that's why I call it rough. It's pretty cool, and it just has a little bit of agitation that's more visible than if one might cut it with scissors. So I'm gonna take this side right here. Wow. again, this is very important. Sometimes when the fold in this one is too short in one area or too long, if it's too uneven, the transformation star will need some extra folds in the actual star. So right here you can see it's pretty perfect, I like to consider it. And I'm just gonna fold it in. See how one is down, one is down, one is up. Then just go like this. Oh, fold it, and that's it. So now I'm gonna add these other pieces here. Now, I'm not gonna add it upside down. Nah, I have to make sure that the part I'm inserting into the transforming star, which is gonna go right in between this split, is like a bullet train. So it's gonna come right down here. Bullet trains make sounds? That's the sound. Then I wanna fold it. So then as you can see, when the split's open, the two hooks clamp down on the insides of the incoming portion. And of course, I'll do it again here. See, it's going in like this, in like this, in like this. Boom. Another way to think of it is that the long ways down has to go in. The long ways down has to go in. Boom. Now, this requires one more piece. As you can see, there's some separation, some distance. So we're gonna add it right here. Now altogether, 8 pieces come together to make this transforming star. And we pull it in, boom. All right. Now, this portion comes in here, fits in just like the rest. That's come to fit in nicely. And of course, with this portion now, we already have an insert. So it's like an insert and an insert, and we're trying to make sure it clamps on both sides, not really latching onto the middle. So it comes in here. There it goes. And so now, right here, you see, well, like I was going to show this portion. This pops out. This is after the fact. And the reason why it pops out is because, well, it's a little, it's a good size, but it's like a little short, and at the angle I insert the other one. So just be mindful, sometimes these pieces need some readjustments. And of course now, we have it, boom, our transforming star. Now how does it transform? Well, it's good to really just slowly get it in. And one good thing about it, I mean, it's that it's a multi-piece origami set, so it's 2-in-1. It's really nice to be able to have a 2-in-1, and a person can just kind of play with it. So it's like this. Kind of be gentle with it, I want to say. Just like be gentle, and you slowly get it, and you slowly get it. It's like pushing in the angles. And of course, what's nice is, I say it's 2-in-1, multi-design, multi-origami piece. Wow, look at that. So you have the initial form, circular, and of course now you have this really intricate 8-piece ninja star. So it's really cool. Alrighty, that's the relaxing origami session, and now you, I hope, can make an origami transforming 8-point star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This week, I go to the theaters to see 2 films. A Man Called Otto and Plane. I think both films are worth seeing for different reasons. I like the stories of both, and I think Plane offers different perspectives of travel, of being a flight attendant, that I've yet to come across. The film that does come to mind is Air Force One. Though the film completely veers from being that type of film, there are similarities. Now, the reality of playing is I fall asleep about correction. I likely fall asleep about 1 hour into the film playing because the film is an hour and 40 minutes. So the whole idea is the film is, for me, offering interesting perspectives of travel, though comical in senses of the film Deep Blue Sea, though not comical looking at the full context. There are a lot of funny moments that are actually funny, and I'm glad about seeing a film like this on the table again, because it's not just a nostalgic feel it offers, it's like a style of film storytelling that I think bodes well as a film to like enjoy, appreciate, and remember as realistically a cult classic, a memorable cult classic. And that's usually pretty nice, like a one-off cult classic. So we're gonna move on from the film to a film I actually stay awake through the entire time. A Man Called Otto, about an aging man that really does have a successful relationship. I'm trying not to spoil it because the way the film develops is in a way where talking about it might reveal aspects of it. Though I like the story around community, around getting older in a community. I think it's something to really think about, being in one's locality, knowing one's neighbor across the street. It's a completely, I don't want to just say nostalgic sense, though a real part of life, like community next door. Of course, nowadays, community, even growing up, the community can be so much more distant, though feels so much more immediate and present because of the internet, for example. So Otto's character really exemplifies moving from a space of isolation into a space of community, into appreciating life beyond one's immediate life, one's immediacy, spatially. I like the film. It's on the basis of a book. I learned that recently. Of course, I have to warn that the film does have very, very, very intense moments requiring pre-advising. The film at the end does offer some hotlines for anyone that might feel a certain type of way. At the end of the film, there are triggers. So if you're a person that may have certain experiences personally, just be mindful. The film does get touchy. I cannot speak from that experience, though I like to be mindful of what will be going into a film that I'm going to be reviewing or talking about. Because I don't want to say, hey, go watch this film. Then a lot is done irresponsibly. I think what the film does can work in a good way, at the same time, it's triggering. It's potentially triggering, at least. So, that's the film review. Additionally, I think it's important to recognize other parts of Otto aside from those trigger points, like dealing with being in America as a senior citizen, as an individual with disabilities, or at least different abilities, like the way I like to think about it, as an individual that might be dealing with gender situations, bullying at school, different areas of life where communities are to be. I think the film tries to touch on these things in ways that allow one to think in an older sense. Like, imagine being a senior living alone, though being so proactive in the community in more of a patrolling sense. So it's like being busy in one way that is communal, and being busy in one way that is communal, though not engaging with the community in the best way. I like what the film brings to the table to discuss in regards to just community. Though I think there are a lot of points where I'm like, oh, this can get heavy. I'm not going to spoil this film for you. Alright. Now let's talk about a book. Alright. Now, Atomic Habits by James Clear is the book I recently finished. I do like the book. I think it has very sound methods. The author does acknowledge individuals, which the author appreciates, which I like. You can actually read my blurb via peaches.com/book reviews. So you can have this understanding. Where I'm going to come from is the perspective of behavioral scientists, which is what the context of the book revolves around. Effective habits and ineffective habits. Identifying them, of course, and showing to be working with effective habits. The book is blatant, as we can see on the cover, to build good habits and break bad ones. I think there are methods that can work very well. There are people that very step by step when it comes to tasks and certain responsibilities. When it comes to lifestyles, there are nuances. I like to think of lifestyles more than habits, which somewhat falls in line with identity, though both seem to be very different. Identity, to me, falls underneath the umbrella of lifestyle. I think faith and will are aspects to consider. There are good methods in the book flowing with the author's 4-step rule. Cue, craving, response, reward. A lot of mini lessons are in the text, so one can navigate the parameters of the 4-step rule, realistically, a pathway, a method to a better habit, to a more effective habit, or creating consistency with an effective habit. I think the book is nice, setting all the methods in a way that isn't overbearing. I like the 2-minute rule. I really do like the identity portion because I think that might help someone cater into a lifestyle. Ultimately, we're dealing with choice when one has to deal with building one's life. So, I like the Atomic Habits. I feel like even recommending the book can be a good idea. Though with all self-help type books, I like to advise to keep an aware, cautious, reasonable, open mind. With this, I want to thank you for joining me. I don't know, we can talk about it. What a day. What a show. Bookmark raffle updates will be coming soon. Of course, we're going to have more to talk about because there's always something to talk about. And feel free to contribute to the discussion via the Pieters forums. Yes, the forums of Pieters. So I can opt in to review anything, learn something from what you might request. Until next time, God willing, onward and upward, Kevin Dufresne. Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to Pieters.com, where the belief of expression, the choice to express in the public sphere, is to bear in the wilds your choice responsibilities, where beyond anyone and anywhere else you will encounter yourself, thrives. I bring you here because on the main page, you'll be able to find recent blogs, a few links to interesting stories, amongst other forms of creativity by Kevin Dufresne. Of course, if we go to the menu, we can get to the Pieters, the music, the books I've read, publications, merchandise, and the Forum of Pieters, and a little of about page about Pieters. The Forum of Pieters is where you can be an active participant, where, of course, we have the podcast, the YouTube channel, and discussion panels for people to join in and introduce me to a new topic to review so we can further develop and just have interesting civil discourse. And of course, you can go to merchandise as well and be proactive in that regard. So, thanks for watching. I hope to be in conversation with you soon.